Virginity is a social construct, and so is everything else. Hey all, and welcome to my channel. My name is Erin, and this is Trope or Nope, where we examine tropes that commonly show up in the romance genre and love stories. Today we're going to be talking about some virginity tropes, specifically painful virgin sex, the slut and the virgin pairing, and the ruined MC. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you always know when a new video is uploaded. What is the painful virgin sex trope? So, if you've ever read a story where a person with a vagina has sex for the first time, chances are that included some pain and some bleeding. The fixation of this is more common in historicals, but it still shows up in contemporaries. Part of the reason it shows up a lot is because it was widely accepted and was in fact used as a way to prove that a woman was a virgin when she got married. If you did not bleed, it was assumed that you were not a virgin and therefore unfit for the marriage. This could cause issues with paternity and inheritance, which is why a lot of wealthy people got their knickers in a knot over women being virgins until they were put in their husbands' beds. Why do people like this trope? I can only imagine that the allure of this trope in the modern day comes from people who still follow the concept that virginity equals purity. It could also be possible that this relates to a deeply held belief, whether acknowledged or not, that women who have sex deserve to be punished for it. This might seem preposterous at first glance, but when you look at women having sex in other genres, it is almost always a death sentence. If you see a woman having sex on the screen or on the page and you're in a genre of mystery, contemporary, or horror, you're basically putting a target on her. Perhaps that belief, as well as being miseducated about sex, is what keeps this trope going. I don't know if this trope exists because people like it or if they have just accepted it as fact, but in either case, I hope that this trope fades away. Why might this trope suck? This trope has set a truly unfortunate precedent for real life. It is so common in media that young people have come to expect pain the first time they have intercourse. This also perpetuates a false understanding of the hymen. Generally, in these scenes, the concept is that the penis has to forcibly break through the hymen, which is why there's pain and bleeding involved. I need everyone to understand that you should not be experiencing pain or bleeding during intercourse. If you or your partner is in pain during intercourse, you need to stop what you are doing. There are multiple reasons why someone might experience pain during intercourse, and none of them are things that you should try to power through. This applies to both you and all of these characters. Number 1, not enough foreplay. Bodies need time to get ready and get comfortable. If the person with a vagina is not comfortable, not relaxed, and not aroused, they're not going to have a comfortable time with intercourse. It is very important that neither partner takes this personally. People may be nervous, or they might not be emotionally ready, or they might be experiencing pressure from outside sources like family or religion that have fed them a narrative of shame around this. All of these things need to be worked through. Number 2, improper sex. No one with a penis should be jackhammering anyone with a vagina, especially if this is for a first time. Go slow and be extremely thoughtful. Number 3, not enough lube. Lube is going to make all kinds of sex more comfortable. Invest in it and use it. Number 4, a medical condition. There are various conditions that are going to make sex painful. Things like vaginismus, vestibulodynia, or vulvodynia are going to make intercourse extremely difficult. Vaginismus is the involuntary contraction, keyword involuntary, of the muscles of the vagina. That means that those muscles are not going to enjoy having a toy or a penis forcing them apart. There is a possibility with time and patience and a dilator set that vaginismus can be alleviated enough to have intercourse. But that is not a quick or particularly enjoyable process. Vestibulodynia is a condition in which movement in the vagina triggers pain signals. And vulvodynia is very similar, except it's any kind of contact to the external genitalia. With vestibulodynia, that is a condition where any kind of movement within the vagina is going to trigger nerves to send pain signals. And with vulvodynia, any contact with the vulva is also going to trigger those pain signals in the nerves. Other things like endometriosis, pelvic inflammatory disease, various infections can all trigger pain during intercourse. If the person with the penis is the one experiencing the pain, this is likely due to an allergy, an infection, or Peyronie's disease. I don't know if I said that right, but we're going with it. Please consult with a physician if you are experiencing pain during intercourse, and stop perpetuating this myth in media. What is the slut and the virgin trope? This trope pairs someone who has never had sex with someone who is known for their promiscuity. Most of the time, this trope is going to focus on MF pairings, where the man is a big ol' slut and the woman is a quiet, unassuming virgin. Why do people like this trope? The first is that the virgin partner is going to be introduced to sex by someone who clearly knows what they're doing, so theoretically, they're gonna have a pretty nice time. The second is that the promiscuous partner is going to be tamed. They're going to settle into a happy and monogamous life because they have finally fallen in love. I don't particularly enjoy that aspect, but I do know it is very popular. If you've ever read a historical romance with a rake or a rogue, chances are they were part of this trope. Why might this trope suck? It commonly hammers home some pretty outdated ideals about men and women. That's not to say that sex is not celebrated within the context of this pairing, but it does kind of perpetuate the idea that the men should be out there sowing their wild oats, while the good wife material ladies should be quietly waiting at home for their future partners with their legs firmly closed. It also only really allows for the celebration of sex within a monogamous pair. The virgin character is not now going to explore their sexuality with other people, and the promiscuous character is going to trim down whatever their usual behaviors and desires are to fit the needs of their new partner. I also feel like this often neglects the reason that a lot of these characters might be promiscuous. And that's not to say that these people and characters can't be having sex just because they enjoy sex, but sometimes there is a reason that they don't treat it as particularly valuable until they get to this relationship. Also, the fact that this commonly shows up in historicals immediately draws my mind to the spread of STIs and accidental pregnancies because contraception and protection was not what it is today. I would just be curious how many of these characters ever consider how badly they could fuck up someone's life or even have a woman die in childbirth because they were out there getting frisky. What is the ruined main character trope? In this trope, the character is caught in a compromising situation, or caught actually having sex, or someone has simply alluded to the fact that they could have had sex and it destroys their reputation. Something as simple as going out without a chaperone or sheltering at someone's home during a storm could call into question whether the main character is still a virgin. This is very common in historicals, but there are still ways that it could show up in contemporaries. Why do people like this trope? It is a super useful plot device because it can force characters into extraordinary measures to avoid perceived impropriety. I read one book where a man, not the love interest, locked the main character in the second floor room of his house so that she would be forced to leave in the morning and other people would assume that they had sex and she would have all of her prospects ruined and be forced to marry him. To avoid this, she climbed out a second-story window in the middle of a storm in a dress. It's also possible that this is somewhat reliant on a facet of the painful virgin sex trope, in which a woman who allows herself into this position should be punished for it. Except in this case, it's not physical pain she's being punished with, it's a loss of all of her prospects and reputation. Why might this trope suck? This trope focuses around the idea that virginity is essential for a woman to have worth. If she's not a virgin, then the men won't want to marry her and she will forever be a burden upon her family. The thing about this that extra sucks is that in a lot of these stories, the MC is still a virgin, but it is the perception of the loss of virginity that fucks everything up for her. There are still people getting fed the absolute garbage idea that having sex with someone basically makes you a piece of chewed gum, and what partner would want to chew on gum that someone else has already had in their mouth? You are not a piece of chewed gum. You are a person of value whether or not you ever intend to get naked with another human being. Virginity is a complex social construct that still holds a lot of sway in the modern world. There has been a shift in the characters showing up with romance, and there are a lot more women being introduced who have sexual pasts and are not ashamed of it. let's keep that ball rolling. Whether a character has sex for the first time, the 100th time, or the 1000th time, let's treat them with respect and do the same with people in real life. So that is all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. All of my books are currently on sale. My contemporary romance novel, Heart and Soul, as well as my other 2 books, Olympian Confessions, Hades and Persephone, and Olympian Confessions, HERA. You can check out the first 3 chapters of all of them for free on my website. Relevant links will be below. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to be notified as soon as I upload, then ring that bell. All my social media links will be in the description below, and I will see you all next week with another video. Bye!